Welcome to the Building Materials Sales and Marketing Podcast, presented by Mark Mitchell, a sales and marketing consultant who specializes in helping building materials companies overcome difficult sales problems. Mark is the author of the book Building Materials Channel Marketing and a frequent speaker at industry events.
Today, got one of my favorite guests, Tom Benedict. He's the VP of Purchasing for Wayne Homes. They're a on-your-lot builder in the, we'll call it the, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania area. And they build about 600 homes a year. And I always really like to talk to Tom about what are things going on in your world? What are your biggest problems, or how are manufacturers or dealers and distributors and labor, how are things going for you? And Tom reached out to me a week or so ago in which he talked about, Mark, you would just not believe how manufacturers are just dropping the ball. So Tom, thanks for joining us today. Tell us about what's happening.
Everyone knows this in actually any industry. Supply is just really tough. Supply chain is broken down all over the place. Everyone's struggling. You can just go to a grocery store and see where things are short supply. But within the building industry, many materials short supply. Some we're doing fine with. Some we had a short time where we had shorts and a bunch of issues, and others have just struggled for the 18 months we've been under the pandemic. I reached out to you just to say, hey, there's some people doing it good, some not so good, and just want to give some examples of what we're experiencing to help those that maybe aren't doing good, maybe other ways to look at it.
Yeah, what I view, Tom, just to set the stage, how I view it is we're going to come out of this at some point. And you may have been buying windows or siding or doors or roofing or something from one company for a long time. And now that some of these companies have gone through this and the way that they are doing a poor job of communicating to me will then put them at risk in the future when their competition has product to sell. Right. So that's what I think is like. And it's also just overall, we all know if the news is not good, but at least the news should be accurate and timely. And if it's going to mean I can't ship that for 3 months, well, just state that. Don't dance around. How are you experiencing it? Yeah. So
the one that set me off was a product. We've been buying the same brand for 30 plus years.
Wow.
Great relationship. Okay. We've gone through management changes at the manufacturer, but it's always worked for us. They have, during this time, gone to extended lead times.
Yes.
And part of what we like to have relationship with the manufacturers because we hope it brings them value and brings up us value. And in these conditions and these values, what we hope is that we're preferred builder and we're going to get our products before someone that changes all the time.
Yes.
Okay, or changes on a whim based on the price. Okay.
Right.
And what's happened is manufacturer, they were at a 4-week lead time, and then they went to a 5 or 6 week lead time. Well, then their dealers that actually do the install of the product came out and they inventory some products. They order some of it, they custom order based on that particular mix of the features. And when they saw the lead times went to 5 or 6 weeks, then they went out and said, well, I need to place a big order for inventory to have this in place. So they placed an inventory order. So they have 6 weeks worth of material on the ground. So that then brings up a more backlog for the manufacturer. And they then extend lead times to 8 weeks. Then it went to 10 weeks. Okay. So it keeps pushing out. And every time that happens, the dealers put in inventory orders, plus the orders they need for us for our custom doors that we're doing. Okay.
Yes.
So what happens now, instead of 4 weeks, now we're out to 8 to 10 weeks. And the way the manufacturer, I talked to our national account manager, manufacturer said, well, the only way we can do it fair is the first order in is the first order out, which means, okay, you might have a builder or maybe a dealer that doesn't, maybe they sell multiple brands of your product and they're not loyal to you, but they can put an order in and it'll go before mine that has 30 years of experience with you. Okay. So they're not prioritizing any orders at all. And then actually, the Monday I sent you something we need to talk is on this Friday at 4:12 in the afternoon, I received an email saying as of Monday, any new orders have a 24% increase on them on price, and the lead time's another 4 weeks. Well, then we get pushed out more. Okay, so then an interesting thing happened today with this manufacturer. As I was talking to the main dealer we buy from, and there are some doors we're looking at to see, okay, when are they going to come in? You know, we have houses getting ready to close without this product on it. And he talked to his sales rep, and the sales rep said, yeah, I know the ordering system tells you the date you should have it, but he says that's a crapshoot. We don't even know what's going to happen then. So basically, this manufacturer can't tell us when we're going to get product, how we're going to get it, what the price is going to be, because when they change prices based on deliveries. Okay, so we don't know what kind of price we're going to have. So it's just not having that information, not knowing, going to our customers, do they have to reselect? Do they have to wait for this product? Okay, it's this lack of information we have. Okay,
yeah,
and actually many manufacturers I've talked to, which is very surprising to me, is even what they receive from their suppliers of raw materials, they don't know until the truck arrives what's on that truck.
Wow.
Okay. And I've heard this from multiple categories. So it seems like it's a common thing within the industry that they don't know when that truck shows up at their door, what's on it, what they ordered, what's on it. It might not even be product that they have ordered. It's like they just threw things on there. Okay. So it's very, just the whole supply chain is breaking down. And I don't understand how a manufacturer, they cannot tell you what goes on that truck, and they're controlling what goes on that truck until it arrives at your door. Okay. And we're having quite a bit of that across different categories.
Wow. Because these companies, Tom, spent a lot of these companies spent lots of money on these, enterprise software, like SAP, that's, to tell everybody everything where everything is. And so it's like, how did that fall apart? Because I remember you told me a couple of months ago about one of your suppliers would say, well, we got good news. A truck with your product left today from the factory. And you said, what's on it? And they go, we don't know. So it's like, what? You got to wait till Christmas. What is it? Christmas morning on Wednesday, right, when the truck shows up, and you open the back and say, well, which house can we work on today? I mean,
exactly.
I just
crazy.
Don't understand.
I had a manufacturer in the last 2 weeks tell me his software is antiquated. It's like, okay, I don't care. Okay, I need product. Okay, don't tell me your problems of your software. Why didn't you fix that during good times? And knowing that your software is not going to handle your distribution and all that stuff,
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, man. So a company doing the right thing would first of all say, okay, who's been our good customers, loyal to us, that doesn't bail every time somebody comes in with a lower price? And, how could we give them their business a priority? Seems like a smart thing to think about. And then the other is just accurate and timely information.
Right.
So many times I find whenever you're under stress, a company's under stress, it's like you look and say, okay, how well did they handle that? And it seems to me that companies, rather than, let's say, empowering their sales and customer service people with information, it seems to me like they've drawn it back in. It's tighter. There's this, little group of people that are the only people that can say anything. And so it's not the sales or customer service person's fault if they don't have the information from their company.
Oh, yeah, because my contact is with the sales rep.
Right.
So get them the information that I need so they can answer on the phone right away. Okay.
Yes.
And the sales folks, they've got a tough job, just like all of us. And they're spending the last year and a half tracking down materials. They can't do sales. Okay. So they're tracking down materials and try to help us get what we need when we can, because if there's no product available, no sense in selling it. Okay. And so their companies have put them in a position to spend all their time just tracking down product to make sure we're getting it when we need it.
Yeah.
Or at least get it by the time we close the house in some cases. Okay. So.
And then it seems like, the price increases are just kind of like out of control.
Oh, definitely. Like this manufacturer was talking about on a Friday, they said a 24% increase. You couldn't project closer than that than have a 24% increase. And by the way, that's the third one for this year. Then they thought, in their letter, of course, their announcement, their letter saying, well, all their competition, they list out all their major competition, the companies, and listed out the percent increases that they've had throughout the same time period. Okay.
Right.
Well, thing that they gave me is my list that I know who I'm going to go shopping with when this thing's over. Okay. So I can now go back to the list. They listed all the manufacturers, and, this is the one we've been having a 30+ year relationship with. And we have not shown any preferential treatment. They're not communicating us with any different than anyone else.
Right.
And we're going to, when this is over, we're going to shop.
Isn't that just amazing? Like, you just hear building material companies, there's just no loyalty. There's no loyalty. No. And I'm like, it's a two-way street. What are you doing to be, how are you being loyal to your customers? Okay. Exactly. And especially when the chips are down like this.
Yeah. And early on, we had this one company, their product, there's a national shortage, and there's 2 or 3 major brands of this product. And both of them were having problems with importing, with parts, assembling it, and there's a shortage. So I called our national account manager and said, hey, here's our situation. And, they sell, we're doing 600 homes. They sell this brand to some of the big guys, okay? The DR Hortons, the Pulte's, and all that. And he said, hey, any of your suppliers can't get the product, just give me a call and we'll have it. I notified my lumberyards who to call and contact. I never heard about it. We never missed a beat on that product.
Wow.
And what I'm assuming is they prioritized us over some of the others. If they went out and got a builder, and that builder went to them because of strictly on price, then I would hope that might be the builder's not getting the product, because we look for price competitiveness, but we also look for that
always told me that. Yeah.
And it's a two-way street here. There has to be value for both of us to make it work. And so if we don't bring the value that makes us a more valuable customer, then in these times of shortages, no one ever saw this coming, but all these years we've been working on partnerships that we hope it would add value, that we would then be at the top. There's another manufacturer I want to tell you about. Okay, this manufacturer, and that the whole industry has long lead times. This manufacturer, this particular product, that we've been working with them for 20 some years. And as this thing hit, we actually went to a new product. They introduced a new cost-effective product that hit the market with, and we started using them when we've been using them about a year on this product when the pandemic hit. And they then went and divided all their customers into tiers, tier 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And they said, okay, our lead time is going to be 10 weeks. Well, for tier 1, you're 8. Okay. Tier 2 gets 10 weeks. Tier 3 is like 16 weeks. Tier 4, go buy somewhere else because you're never going to get it. Okay.
Right.
And so they showed us that priority with us. And even though it's a longer lead time, we now had expectations. We knew what to do. We knew how to order earlier than what we had in the past. So we're getting that product when we need it. Right?
Yes.
And they actually took their customers and said, here's the customer base. And, I know that because I've got a friend that works for a builder that was notified that they were a tier 4. And he asked, how are we getting this product? I said, well, large volume, great relationship, because he'd only started using them about a year before things started. And we have high volume, good relationship, and committed to them. And he had to go out and try to find someplace else to buy this product. So.
Wow. That's smart to sit down and think this through, because, you and I have been through a number of recessions, and every one of them is different. We all think that they're going to be like the last one, but they're all different, and sometimes it causes like, if new home construction is down, then remodeling's up, or, just different things affect. And then we had the one like 2008 and 9, which is like everything hurt, and
right.
And so I think everybody thought, back when we first experienced this, was like, okay, this has to be a recession. I know what a recession's like. Okay. And then surprise, there was no recession,
right. And everybody, if they talk to manufacturers, they're all saying the same thing. This whole thing started, we reduced inventory, reduced production, sales orders took off. We couldn't catch up. Now we're short people.
Right.
Okay. And we've been a year and a half into this thing, and some have solved it, some haven't.
No. And there's the shortage of it. Just even some things, like ingredients. I've been hearing about how vinyl is on allocation. So you got window and siding manufacturers, and you got
and
glass
insulation. Yeah, yep. And a lot of that hit with the freeze in Texas back in January, February. That really hurt the market. So
So we've got, let's say, a lack of information. And an opportunity where you could show loyalty back to a customer, not showing the loyalty back.
Right.
Then number three is price increases, which to me, I always think, you need you owe it to your customer to have a good explanation about why you're raising your prices, not just, well, we're raising prices because we can. Right,
because the competition did. Right.
And so when it just comes off that way, it just, to me, leaves a bad taste in the customer's mouth. Then the other one to me, I'm seeing, Tom, is, okay, we had 12 colors of this product, but now we're only going to have 6.
Yes.
And so, which I understand, if that helps them to produce more product, that cuts down on lead times, and it's probably the most popular colors. Mm-hmm. But yet, if you had that in your, I don't know the right word here, but your selection guide or whatever, and and so person, you have 9 colors in there, and now 3 of them they can't get, and there's somebody already ordered that, and that's the color they wanted. And so, how's that been affecting you?
That's a big one. We have all of our customers are doing the selections up front. When we start the house, they're all done. And now I'm halfway through the house, and this happened last week. The manufacturer came back and said, hey, there's 6 colors we're not offering anymore. So now I got to go to those customers, try to get them to reselect. Well, their whole house is designed around that color. So they might have to look at other products. And this is an exterior product. Actually look at exterior products that change. How does that whole color scheme work? Okay, and it's not like it's a color that this is maybe a dark shade. It's actually that whole section. Okay, so they and it's actually a lot of them are happening with green. So there's some with the green color in vinyl that's causing some issues. So they might have to go to a brown or grays, and that's not what the customer wanted. So now they're all excited about their house. We got to come in and reselect. Now, when they reselect, they pick a new color. I got to order that color right away. But if we're 10 weeks lead time, now I'm closing the house and I don't have it yet because we didn't know until we're halfway through we had to change colors. Okay, so and I understand, if you can reduce your colors, changeovers of a color in some products is very time consuming. Where you can get that machine running that same color, I understand that can reduce lead times and help overall. But what am I supposed to do with these customers that have selected that product and have their mindset on it? And they've, this is a big expense on, big expenditure they're going to have in their lifetime. And now they can't get that house to look like they wanted. What am I supposed to do? Okay.
Yeah.
So, so I start looking out, hey, can I go to another brand? And I start looking at, and, if I can go to the other brand, then why not stay with that brand when this thing's over?
Right.
Or, it gives, if we're loyal to the one we're using, the new one steps in and he can help me cover some of these odd colors we have. Part of them saying, hey, you haven't been buying from me. Why should I sell to you? Well, one reason would be they have the supply, they can make a sale. But number 2, they know when things get straightened out, they're going to have an opportunity to get our business. So it's opening up for a category review that we may not even thought about doing.
Right. Yeah, because I think about, I always enjoy our times together at the Builder Show, just walking around. And, I know how difficult you are to sell and how loyal you are to your current suppliers and brands. Mm-hmm. And I always think about it's so much less expensive to keep a customer than it is the cost to go out and get a new customer. But for some reason, companies get in these situations and they don't stop and think through that. And so it's all of a sudden you're the same as everybody else, but now when the supply and demand gets back in sync where, it's supposed to be at some point, then you're going to remember how it was to deal with them. And that 30 years worth of loyalty is just going to be goodbye. And,
what value was that? We have a product now that, we were buying a lesser grade that works with the specifications we have.
Yes.
And they decided, okay, well, if you want that color, you have to upgrade the customer to this other product that costs more.
Yes.
I went back to the manufacturer and say, okay, I did nothing wrong. Why should I pay the higher price?
Right.
And have that hit bottom line? Because I can't charge the customer now. If I knew that months ago, I could charge the customer for that better grade product. Well, their answer is, well, that's what the cost is. That's what it's got to be. Well, if you really cared about us, and like you said, what's the cost of keeping us as a customer?
Right.
Tell me that upgrade's the same price as the lower one, because you're not able to manufacture both. Okay.
Yep.
Help me through this process. Maybe we split the price increase or just sell it at that lower price, but Don't just say, hey, that's the way it is.
But
We'll
Tom,
see later.
I think when we get into a stressful situation, so maybe we lean on the production people or we lean on the financial people. And the last people we're going to talk to is the salespeople, because we don't want any more orders. And so
Right.
so they're kind of taken out of the equation. And so we get an expert in production and an expert in money, as far as the how the company makes more money, not how the builder makes more money. And so people like sales are not part of the conversation. And so you can see the end result of this. Which is like, I'm sure if those companies had salespeople involved in those planning discussions, they'd start to realize the value of their existing loyal customers and making them a priority within this.
Oh yeah, because like you said, what's it going to cost them now to get, if they're going to cover that extra cost, that's going to give me they're going to get some points out of that we work together through this thing and build that relationship. Where if I'm covering that whole cost, that part of the relationship goes away. Where they're going to help me cover it, that adds points. And maybe at the end of this, we work our way through it and we just stick with you because you've done a great job of helping us guide through this thing. And, a lot of these long lead times are really no one individual's fault. It's just the situation we have and what can we do together to get through it the best.
Yes.
When you pass a price increase on to me, I set my sales price on my house months ago and I can't go back to the customer and say, I need more money.
Right. Nope.
They don't care. Okay.
Nope.
So it's going to go right to our bottom line. So let's do something about sharing this and help them protect each other.
Right. I think that's very smart. What I've been telling companies to do right now, Tom, is if I have salespeople and I have a good story to tell by how are we dealing with the challenges of today with our customers. And Wayne Homes and Tom have never bought my product, but I've always wanted to sell them. I would be contacting Tom saying, Tom, I just want to show you how we're weathering this storm. Okay. I don't have product to sell you today. I hope to in the future when, things get back, but I just wanted to let you know, this is what we're doing to keep our customers, to communicate with them with accurate information with these things. And I'm going, if you've got a good story, go ahead and tell that, because that'll, probably take you to the top of Tom's list when it's time for him to look,
Actually, there was a product category. The salesman called me last week.
Yes.
He said, hey, I know you're having problems with this one. We might be able to help you in with a few jobs here and there.
Yeah.
But we can't take on all your business right now. But let's see what we can do to help supplement your problems you're having.
Yeah.
And I have a meeting with him tomorrow morning, 8:00.
Brilliant. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
So he's got a chance to prove to you what they're like to deal with, how they provide information, all of those things that are very important, and that, it's like companies assume that dealing with them is easy, and it's usually many times it's like dealing with the Department of Motor Vehicles. It's like the salesman is really great and the product's great, but then it's like, okay, now I'm going to become a customer. It's like, oh no, now the hard work starts. No, we don't acknowledge orders. No, we don't this. No, what?
Right.
So I think that's very smart way to get in the door there.
And that's what he said. He says, hey, I'm not coming to this sales job. It's going to be coming in. I'm going to tell you what we're doing, tell you where we might be able to help support you in some areas. Because
how
you're not
smart.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that is so smart. And so what I'm hearing is smart companies are providing, I'm going to call it accurate information.
Yes.
Like if the lead time is 10 weeks, then tell me the lead time is 10 weeks, but then deliver on that. And then the second is, okay, I can't understand how you could ship something and not know what was on the truck, but
that's just amazing
to know that, and then to not be so cavalier about price increases, and also to realize when you do cut back on something like your colors, have some empathy for the position you put the builder in.
Exactly. We have this one job, the color was discontinued.
Yeah.
We're weeks from closing. Now we have to go back, have the customer reselect, and anything they select is on 10-week lead time.
Yes.
So we have a situation here. We're not sure what we're going to do with this customer. Okay. Because they're supposed to be closing. They want to move in. They've sold their house, all that stuff. And now I might not be able to finish you
Oh,
And so
my
it really
gosh.
puts us, yeah. So if you knew that, let us know and act, can you do something about getting some of those products from somewhere? Okay. We actually had a manufacturer that we had a particular situation like this, and they did find some product in St. Louis. We're in Akron, Ohio.
Yeah.
They found some product in St. Louis, and I
Yeah.
said, great, ship it over here.
Yes.
They shipped over, delivered, then send me a bill for the shipping. It's like, come on, guys. Okay. You didn't have it. We're working with you. You told us when we win this, then they actually have our agreement guarantees product availability. Well, that was written under different conditions. Okay. So I
Sure.
understand the market and everything, but when you do get it and you ship it because they had to ship it common carrier, then you send me the bill.
No.
It's like, come on. It's like, no, it's part of this.
Well, I mean, it's like,
You're having a
don't,
problem with manufacturer, right? Don't
surprise you. I mean, I
Right.
could say, hey, coming to you and saying, hey, I found it in St. Louis, but we're going to have to charge you for the shipping. Okay. It doesn't come
Right.
as a surprise. And you could then
Yes.
discuss that. Right.
Yes. Yep.
And so, that's just, poor customer service.
Yes, that's what it
it's
is.
like funny, like they almost perform a miracle and then they drop the ball.
Right,
It's
exactly.
like, oh, you almost got it right,
Right. And I could see what happened that they had to pay for it, and someone at a lower level said, yeah, okay, that's someone's got to pay for it. The builder that's having to ship should pay for it. And it didn't go up to a national account or someone dealing with at our level.
Right.
Looking at it, say, hey, this doesn't make sense to take care of our customer the right way.
Right.
To charge this,
Yeah. No. So, hey, so this has been really, really helpful for you. I love it when you reach out to me and just share either when companies do something really bright or great, or times when they kind of stubbing their toes. Like right now,
I wish this was more of how all the ones that are doing great things.
Yeah. But I want to ask you just a little bit off topic. About the Builder Show. The trade show started to open back up in June. We had the World of Concrete, big show. I didn't go, but I talked to some people that went, and they said, well, there were all the exhibitors there, but there weren't very many, concrete contractors there. I mean, the attendees weren't there. And so then I was planning to go actually today to Las Vegas to the roofing show. And, then I've just seen all of these companies because of COVID just saying we're not going to, even though we paid for the exhibit, we paid for this, we're not going. There's just going to be a big blank space on the floor. And part of me was thinking about, I was mentally sitting there going, okay, all these people, they miss going to a show and seeing other builders and so forth and all that stuff. And so I'll bet these things will have good turnout. But I think there's two factors that are hurting the turnout. And I just would like to see what you think. And one is people are so busy today. Business has never been better for contractors, builders, and so forth. And they're going, I don't have time to go to this show. Okay. And then the other one is because of, we're going through this COVID, there's nothing new to see. There's nothing, I haven't seen any, the new tankless water heater, of something for garbage disposals or anything. And I don't think there's any new products to even look at. So when you think I know it's, it's still, 5 or 6 months out in the future here, but, what are your feelings about like the Builder Show?
I will probably be attending. And the reason is I approach the shows like that a little different. I'm not there to see what new products they have because I have the relationships with the manufacturer. They come out with a new product. They should be notifying me separate, and showing it to me, not at the show.
Yes.
The reason I go to shows, relationships. I'm there to see people face to face. I still think face to face is much better than the Zoom calls and things like that.
Yes.
And I go for that reason. So I'll go to someone's booth, the manufacturer's booth, and I'll talk to our national account manager or maybe the VP of sales or something. I won't even look at product. A lot of times, let me give you a tour of the booth. It's like, I got 20 minutes, half hour here. I'd rather stand and talk to you and talk about our relationship, how things are going, how you handle product shortages, where prices at, that kind of stuff, versus looking at new product.
Right.
And we can do that somewhere else. So I like to go to the Builder Show because most of the major manufacturers we work with or may work with are there. All the right people are there. They may or may not have a booth, but I can connect up with them and either start a relationship or continue a relationship we have. Okay. So because with our size, medium-sized builder, some of these national account managers don't get into our markets enough to see me on a regular basis. So it gives an opportunity that we both have travel expenses to be there, and we're both there. So let's spend the time doing it. So what I'm hoping, if manufacturers decide not to have booths, that they still send their key players for builder sales to those, so we can have offsite meetings or even meetings on the floor, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's very smart. You're so right. Like every time that I take you, say, hey, Tom, I want to show you this company or this product or this brand, and we'll go over there together. And it's amazing how they immediately go right into the product,
Exactly.
And I'm sitting there going, wow, are you really that bad of a salesperson? Really? It's like, really? I mean, tell us what it's like doing business with you. Their product is within range of their competition, and in terms of performance and price. It isn't like, oh my gosh, 10 times better product at half the price. It's not that way. So what it gets down to me is, what's it like to do business with you? And they're so ill prepared. Somebody wants to know that? Now, in the past, you have sent, I don't know, upwards of, I'm going to say 6 people to the builder show, maybe 8. I don't know.
One year we had, I think, like 12 or 15.
Okay, and so what would you project out? How many people do you think you would send?
We will probably have 2 to 6 this year.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's. So thanks, because I have a lot of people asking me, okay, Mark, should we go to the builder show? Should we this? Should we that?
Right.
And I'm always like, okay, well, why are you going? Make sure you understand that, because it's very expensive. And And
as far as for builders, I would say, what's your purpose of going?
Right.
We used to send a lot of people for the training seminars. Well, many of those training seminars, they've added new ones, many of the same year after year after year, and there's less value in those for us. Okay.
Yeah.
I go for relationships. If you're going to look at new products, if the manufacturer is going to be there and half the builders, you're going to see a lot more product, because there's not so many people to get their attention.
Right.
So you'll be able to go through there quicker. Okay. As long as the manufacturers show up. Okay.
Yes.
And that's that's a different thing for manufacturers. Are they going to pay to be there if the attendance is half?
Right.
It's very expensive to do that. It's then take all the time with all your sales staff to go down and do it. So that's why many of them don't display anyway.
Right.
But they're at the show. You can set up meetings separate.
Meet with them. Right. Yeah. Because it's like the booths are all about the product.
Exactly.
When it should be about it should be about the company and what they're like to do with.
Yeah.
So that's good. Well, Tom, this has been great. I really appreciate you reaching out to me and being willing to share this. As always, I hope that some of your valuable insights will get, through to the right people in some of these companies.
That's why I do it. I enjoy talking to you all the time too, Mark. It's great.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, thanks again. And as always, to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. And please let me know if there's a subject you'd like me to cover in a future podcast. So thanks again, Tom, for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for listening to this podcast from Mark Mitchell on building materials, sales, and marketing. We hope he gave you some fresh perspectives on how to grow your sales, and will listen to future episodes.